Thank you, everybody, for coming to the Aaron Torres Podcast YouTube page. If you could do me a quick favor, see that little subscribe button at the bottom of your screen? Go ahead, click that subscribe button. Really does help our channel grow, our audience grow, and I really do appreciate it more than you know. So click that subscribe button. Appreciate your support. Now, here's the video that you came here for. All right, so we've talked a little bit of portal. It is time to continue the portal conversation. It's time to talk about the dark side of the portal right now, though. By the way, CBB Transfers on Twitter, CBB Transfers on Instagram. You know who needs to make sure to subscribe to those pages? Kentucky fans. Because after the excitement of landing Cam Williams before the season was even over a few weeks ago, Kentucky kind of struggling in the portal. As Louisville's getting guys, as whoever, UConn got their guy, Auburn got Keyshawn Hall over the course of the last few days. And so I just bring it up. There is panic in Big Blue Nation. But should there be? Let's go ahead and discuss. First off, listen, Kentucky fans, I hate to do it, cover your ears, but we got to talk about what has happened really the last probably 8 or so days. Like I said, you get the commitment from Cam Williams last Friday. Loved that commitment. We talked about it on Sunday night show. But even during that time, it felt like you were trending in the right direction for Donovan Dent, guard out of New Mexico. Listen, I'm guilty of it. All my sourcing, everything that I was hearing was that Kentucky was in the driver's seat to land this kid. 6'3" guard, really talented. It seemed like it was Kentucky. I actually thought there was a little bit of North Carolina buzz. And as I said on the show, I said, I just don't know if UCLA is going to be able to come up with the funds to land him. And then UCLA lands him, okay? And so listen, great player. This isn't a Donovan Dent segment, but you lose out on him in a situation where it felt like all of the chips were falling towards you eventually landing him. I bring it up because over the course of the last couple of days, Tuesday night, I was on air on Fox Sports Radio until 2 a.m. Eastern time. By the way, left for the airport at about 6 a.m. Eastern. So it was a quick turnaround for old Torres on Tuesday into Wednesday. But I was on air on Tuesday night. What did we talk about in our Tuesday portal update? We talked about Magoon Gwath. Magoon Gwath, center from San Diego State. Magoon Gwath, forget the Kentucky beat writers. Travis Branham, 24/7 Sports, never misses on a crystal ball. He's great at what he does. Puts in the crystal ball for Magoon Gwath to Kentucky. About 5 hours later, Magoon Gwath announces that he is going back to San Diego State. I think it's also worth noting Kentucky really pushed on Silas Demery. Silas Demery, of course, just committed to UConn. Now, I will say, Kentucky did have Mackenzie Mbako on campus on Thursday. We'll see if that thing pops here anytime soon. By the way, chat and also producer Matt, if you see anything with Mackenzie Mbako, let me know. Former McDonald's All-American who was on campus at Kentucky throughout the day. I only bring it up because over the course of the last couple days, I have had a lot of people hit me up. Torres, I'm worried about Mark Pope. Torres, I'm worried about Kentucky. Torres, why can't Mark Pope close? And to be fair, it isn't just this portal cycle. Remember, in recruiting, Caleb Wilson felt like he was trending towards Kentucky forever. He ends up at Carolina. Nate Ament, you were in the mix and then you weren't. And I think there's a little bit of panic in Big Blue Nation. I am here to say I certainly understand it. I certainly would not worry yet. Okay, let's explain why. First of all, Kentucky fans, I'm just going to say it. Not a criticism of you guys and girls. You guys are great to me. Love you guys, whatever. Don't be mad at your beat writers. Don't be mad at me. Don't be mad at any national media member if we put, you guys as a favorite, or Kentucky or UConn or Louisville or Clemson or Florida as a favorite, and you don't land them. The one thing I can tell you, covering the portal is literally unlike anything else that we do at all in the media, okay? I was talking to a coach the other day. He said a day in the portal is like a week in real life. A week in the portal is like a month in real life. Stuff changes so fast. And so when you see a crystal ball, be excited, take it with a grain of salt. It's not the same as a recruit that you've had a relationship for 3, 4, 5 years before you get that crystal ball and ultimately that commitment. Stuff changes fast. By the way, it's not only your school. We talked about it a minute ago. Ryan Conwell from Indianapolis. Indiana thought he was a lock to Indiana. He was coming later this week to visit after Louisville. Never made it to campus. He commits to Louisville before he ever gets to Indiana. I can name, Adrian Woolley, the kid from Tuscaloosa, Alabama, that I feel pretty confident Nate Oates thought he was getting, doesn't end up getting him. And so, one, portal stuff changes all the time. Two, what I would say is every situation is a little bit unique. The Magoon Gwath, I actually think it's a great story. I've said on this show, he did not want to leave San Diego State. Go back and do some background homework on him if you haven't already. Mark Ziegler did a great profile when he originally hit the portal. Listen, my understanding from that article, his parents they're struggling. That's not a knock. It's a reality. Life's hard. Him getting a college education, him getting a college scholarship was incredible. But when you have the chance to make life-changing money, he had to pursue the portal. And then he entered the portal. San Diego State got him enough money where he felt like, okay, I didn't want to leave. It doesn't have to be the highest bid. I just need to help my parents. And so Mark Ziegler, again, from the San Diego Union Tribune, did a great story quoting Magoon Gwath after he announced. He said in that article, he took less money to come back to San Diego State. Kentucky fans, there's nothing you can do about that. And here's the other thing. Isn't that the story we want in the portal? Haven't we heard too much complaining about its unlimited free agency and it always goes to the highest bidder and this and that and the other thing? Well, let's celebrate a kid that could have taken a couple more bucks but wanted to stay at San Diego State. That's not a Kentucky problem. Just like it's not any different if he had been crystal balled to UConn or to St. John's or to Syracuse. That's a great story. He wanted to stay at San Diego State, and he did. So every situation is a little bit different. And I'm just not going to freak out. Listen, as so many of you have pointed out, there's a lot to go still in the portal. And I know it feels like everybody's ahead. I promise you, everybody's not ahead. As we're recording, always subject to change. Arkansas hasn't taken a single portal commit. Auburn did land Keyshawn Hall, but remember, Auburn's got like 8, 9 guys to replace. Duke's going to have to make some additions in the portal. The portal is still very much just getting started. I know it doesn't feel like that when Louisville has 3 commits, when this school has this many commits, when that school has that many commits. There is still so much that is going to go into the portal over the next 3, 4 weeks. Remember, the portal is still open for another 3 weeks. There are great players that have not entered yet. We still got 4 teams left. Some of those players are going to enter. Remember, we're going to have players that enter the NBA draft that will also put their names in the portal and consider coming back. Keyshawn Hall was an early example of that at UCF, but there's going to be others. And the thing I keep going back to, and Kentucky fans, I think you're smart. You figured it out. Go back to this time last year. I'm recording on April 3rd, 2025, okay? On April 3rd, 2025, John Calipari was your head coach. He did not leave for Arkansas until a few days later, and you had 0 players on April 9th, April 10th, April 11th, April 12th, whatever it was. Mark Pope doesn't take the job till April 10th, April 11th, April 12th, and then he has to put together a roster from scratch. And so, yes, I know in a perfect world, you want your roster set. It's a lot easier to get all your work done early. But the counter to that is, guess what? You have 3 great high school players, Jasper Johnson, Malachi Moreno, Caden Lewis. Malachi Moreno, McDonald's All-American. Jasper Johnson should have been. Caden Lewis, really good. Cam Williams is coming in. That's the 4-man that you wanted. Brandon Garrison. Brandon Garrison's a former McDonald's All-American. He's going to figure it out. He's going to get even better. Colin Chandler, Travis Perry, Trent Noah. Do I have to keep going on it down the list? I just named what? What is that, 7, 8 players? So you have what, 2 guys left to get? 3 guys left to get? I'm not saying you shouldn't be frustrated. I'm not saying that you don't wish that a couple crystal balls didn't go your way. I will say, by the way, I'll defend Kentucky fans on this. I don't know who the mole is in Kentucky's basketball offices that's putting out this information with the media. Mark Pope's got to find him and tell him to shut up. Until it's done, until Joe Tipton has the graphic done, I don't want anyone knowing that this is a thing, because I do think that is hurting the public perception. Stuff is getting out a day or 2 early when it isn't quite done. Do you see that happen at Louisville? No. You don't even know kids are on campus at Louisville and then they're committing. Pick a different school. UConn. Silas Demery was clearly done a couple hours before he ended up committing. It didn't get out until it was done. The school announced it today, which means he's already signed paperwork to be a Husky. So whoever's leaking this information to the media, Kentucky, Mark Pope's got to put a seal on it. But I don't think it's time to panic if you're a Kentucky fan. I just think you can't freak out too much, and you just got to take it for what it is.